Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for being with us once more. I have this guy to my right. He goes by the name of
Big Banks.
And I am your boy Stroobs. We appreciate the views. We appreciate the subscribes, the likes. Keep leaving us those comments. Let us know what you do want to see, whether it's the topics of race relations, the Trump presidency, the 2020 elections. Let us know, and we'll throw those videos your way. So let's hit it.
And girl, you know this love is real. Touch me, squeeze me, feel me and caress me. Hold on tight, don't let go. Baby, I'm about to explode.
In the late breaking and the latest news of this week, we had old Grandpa Joe, Joseph R. Biden, Mr. 1988 candidate, the 8-year Obama vice president. He officially, we saw this one coming, of course, he threw his name into the 2020 candidate list, already about 20 people strong, or weak, we should say, for the Dems. Radical leftists mostly. He's kind of he's thrown himself in there as the moderate, I suppose, of this race. The other candidates have continued the leftward push. They don't seem to be moderating their policy positions very much. They seem to be kind of unrelenting and giving the radical fringe of the liberal wing, the progressive wing of the party, what they want, without any kind of attempt at moderation. But Joey, Mr. Hands, the Biden touch, not the Midas touch, but the Biden touch. He is officially in it now, and according to the pollsters, according to the odds makers, he looks like the favorite thus far. Depending on the source you cite or the source you pull from, either Bernie or Biden will seem to be 1A and 1B in either order, but here was Biden's official launch, and here was the video that he released just a couple days ago.
Charlottesville, Virginia is home to the author of one of the great documents in human history. We know it by heart. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights. We've heard it so often, it's almost a cliche, but it's who we are. We haven't always lived up to these ideals. Jefferson himself didn't, but we have never before walked away from them. And that's when we heard the words of the President of the United States that stunned the world and shocked the conscience of this nation. He said there were, quote, some very fine people on both sides. Very fine people on both sides?
So, interesting, of course. One thing you don't see there is you don't see the embrace of the kind of leftward radical sort of positions that you see amongst the Robert O'Rourke's and the Kamala Harris's and the Liz Warrens. You don't see that kind of. So is he positioning himself as the moderate? Big Banks, what do you see in the Biden candidacy, and do you see him really as the odds-on favorite going into the 2019 primary season, 2020 primaries, into the nomination process?
Well, first thing, I don't see the truth, because when he was talking about the whole situation in Charlottesville, I mean, he's kind of, he diced it up to make it look like the current president was the villain in this situation. He just promoted all this. But set the other side, he is reaching for the middle. He didn't really say it. He didn't go to these left-leaning things that people want, free this, free that.
You didn't see the LGBT stuff, especially the T portion of that. You didn't see the other.
I mean, which is good. It gives you some kind of hope that you can have a fair election with people with real ideas and real policies that's going to come forward. So
he's maybe he's hedging his bets. Maybe he's pulling for the southern kind of moderate African American vote. Maybe the northern Union. Males, especially the white males who were kind of labor-driven, the blue-collar folks from Western Pennsylvania, from suburbia in Ohio, and from these other Wisconsin, these places that did go Trump in 2016. So
I mean, that's fine, but you got to have some real decent policies that say, we're going to actually fix the income, make sure that your check is not cut due, raising taxes, things they want to do, more benefits to the poor, and just try to hurt the middle class, and then and just say, well, we need to help somebody out. The people that need to be really helped out is the middle class. Don't get me wrong, we're not going to forget about the poor and social programs, but we can't go back and raise taxes to the point that it's going to hurt the middle class. But we also got to go to, as well as controlling the debt. We're looking at our debt right now. It's 23, almost 22 to 23 and counting right now. Nobody's really taking a hard look at that. That's very important to me, how we actually pay our bills and how we can actually control the debt. Because right now, the interest on the debt is going to kill us alone. It's going to be transferred to my kids and my grandkids. So these are some of the things.
Pass it along with the next generation, of course. We did see a campaign ad that was heavily focused on 2017 in Charlottesville, and you're right. Trump still as the villain. Did Trump misspeak after Charlottesville in 2017? Yes, probably. He probably said some things that he could have not made the argument better, but he could have said more conciliatory kind of items. Now, putting that all on the shoulders of Donald Trump, I mean, that's a little disingenuous, of course. And is Charlottesville the worst? Acting like this is, for Biden to act like this is some crazy time in American history compared to what you experienced. You were an adult during a large portion of Jim Crow, or you were an adult during a large portion of these other ugly periods in American history. You, as an politician early in your career, you voted against mandatory school desegregation. Your history is not good, and don't you come out here and start to talk about things like anti-Semitism when someone in your party, Miss Omar from the state of Minnesota, when she believes in the most vehemently anti-Semitic, disgusting things probably out there of any sitting member of Congress. So
at the end of the day, you need a villain, and if you have a villain, you can run against that. And Trump is the villain right now. I think any Republican is the villain.
For this current core of Democratic candidates.
And so I just right now, when it comes to Biden, I mean, I don't think he's going to do too well. I think this is his third time trying to run for presidency. I mean,
right, 1988, I believe, he was sort of sidelined by the claims of plagiarism, and I think he made another run. I don't know if that was in '92, but yeah, he's been unsuccessful. His track record as a career politician has been pretty mixed as well. He's just most known for being Obama's VP and the
touchy-feely
stuff. Yeah, riding the train from Delaware, but the touchy-feely stuff and all that kind of hands-on stuff not helping him whatsoever.
But we did forget about, he did reach out to Anita Hill.
And actually this did not really bode well for him either. This was him on the reprehensible and stupid show, The View today. But here's what good old Uncle Joe had to say on the daytime View program.
The court. And so I'm grateful she took my call.
You, for as long as I have, I don't know why it took you so long to call her. I wish it had happened earlier.
Well, I tell you what the deal was. I did not, since I had publicly apologized for the way she was treated, I'd publicly said it, I publicly had given credit for her, the contribution she made to begin to change this culture in a significant way, that what I didn't want to do, and I didn't want to, quote, invade her space. I didn't want to get in a situation where this became...
So, didn't handle that very well on The View. A little bit of a misstep there. Wasn't prepared for questions. He thought he was going to get a more favorable, more of a softball panel of interviewers there. But of course, when it comes to the new Me Too movement and all those other items, now we have to hear again about Anita Hill and the Clarence Thomas Supreme Court nomination. So it looks like he'll be in Pittsburgh next week. I think that in-person announcement, proclamation of his candidacy has been delayed by a few days. So he'll be there talking in front of a union, a factory or something else, to show that he's just Mr. Joe, the blue-collar man,
regular person.
Didn't go to Ivy League schools, and he's not a blue blood himself, but he's more of a everyman Joe, right?
Yeah.
So we will track that, we will follow that, and we'll be back with you next time for Mr.
Big Banks.
I am Stroobs. We'll catch y'all next time. Peace.
Peace.